Judy Russell with SBR.TV, and I'm here today with Indian Cowboy and Dave Busk, both professional handicappers from DocSports.com, and we're going to talk NHL. So Indian Cowboy focuses a little bit more on the statistical and mathematical approach to making his picks, while Dave Busk is more concerned with new information and re-educating himself with the teams every day. But the one thing that these cappers definitely have in common is factoring in the importance of motivation. And right now, motivation is paramount in capping the coming weeks leading up to the NHL playoffs, since many teams are already out, but at the same time many slots are up for grabs. So in part 2 of the show, we'll talk about the Eastern Conference, and in part 3, we'll talk about the Western Conference. But before we start, I'd like to get your opinions on the Stanley Cup futures.
The only team that I would actually look into for myself this year, Dave's probably got a couple in mind, but I'm not a huge futures guy, but I will say that I like Washington to maybe do some damage in this year's playoff finally. You can get them around plus 700, plus 800, or maybe better. I remember when this team drafted OV back in 2004, and 05 and 06 they didn't go to the playoffs. 07 quarterfinals, 08 semifinals, and the 09 quarterfinals. They're second in the Eastern Conference this year, and especially with Pittsburgh kind of lollygagging around a little bit, I don't know. It'll be tough for them, I think, maybe to gel in the playoffs possibly, although they very well could get it together. But I think Washington, after so many years of heartbreak, might finally get it together with their veteran leadership there. So I think they're worth a decent look at about plus 800 odds. So,
Dave, what do you think about betting NHL futures at the moment?
If I was betting futures, this would be the time of the year I would be betting them.
Say any favourites that you would seriously avoid, or any long shots that you would feel confident in backing?
In the East, I think it's going to be, I agree with his pick with Washington. I also would say the Philadelphia Flyers. I think it's going to come down to them two teams in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think the East has any teams that are going to surprise anybody. The West is much more open than the East is.
Hey, Dave, how do you think Vancouver's going to do in the playoffs? Do you think they're going to hang in there, or do you think that they're kind of like a regular season wonder?
Every year I keep saying Vancouver's a team to beat. Vancouver's a team to beat, and this year they're definitely the best team in the NHL, and I think you're going to see that carry over. The most impressive thing is they've been losing guys to injuries regularly, but they're still thumping people. I mean, the team is stacked. They have one of the better goalies in the league, and if they did have an injury there, they have a great backup in a young goaltender in Corey Schneider, who probably will be dealt after the year.
What's your take on Vancouver, Icy?
It's like Dave said, every year they're like the team that kind of people really expect to break out. It's kind of like the 49ers in the NFL. Every year you think they're going to break out, and they don't. But Vancouver's had such a great season that you hope that they can kind of carry it over to the playoff. But then you never know. I mean, San Jose, Detroit, Phoenix, some of these teams could come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So it's one of those wide open areas. So.